Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. What a win by the Washington Commanders. A crazy comeback win. The Washington Commanders with their first 10-win season since 2012 and that RG3 rookie year. This game was crazy. So many mistakes by the Washington Commanders, but guess what? It didn't matter. They found a way. Jayden Daniels, this offense, Jamison Crowder, Jeremy McNichols, Terry McLaurin, Olamide Zaccheaus, a bunch of names that helped the Commanders get this win. What a win. The Commanders are basically locked in for the playoffs. As long as nothing crazy happens, they will be in it. I mean, what a crazy ending there. And I was with my dad, my brother, and one of his friends. I said right after Devonta Smith dropped it, I said we're winning this game. I knew it. I didn't have my phone for the last quarter or something like that, and I was just watching because phone needed to get charged before this video, and I was just like, we're going to win this game. I just felt confident about it, and honestly, I was happy that Jake Elliott made that field goal at the end because I didn't want to be in a situation where we were forced to kick a field goal to win the game. And in that scenario, let's say Jake Elliott misses, we're down by 2, we go for a field goal. We're not going for a touchdown. In this scenario, we had to go for the touchdown, and it ended up working. Jamison Crowder, I am so happy he's back, and not only back, but contributing in a big way. 2 catches, only 2 catches, but 15 yards and 2 huge touchdowns. I mean, Jayden Daniels has some not so great plays in this game, but he had a lot of great plays. 24 of 39, 250 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 sack, had 9 carries, 82 yards. The run game, non-existent. Brian Robinson, we're going to talk about that, was awful in this game. 10 carries, 24 yards, and 2 fumbles. Jayden Daniels, the play of the game that saved the game, maybe the season, was the 4th and 11, which I honestly, I wasn't fully on board with going for it, so respect to Dan Quinn for going for it. They go for it, and he runs and gets like, what was it, a 29-yard run. I thought for sure he was going to get, hit super hard by those, I think there was like 3 defenders, but he ended up, escaping and getting some more yards after that. That was a huge play. And then, the last drive there was some questionable, maybe why you running there, like the 3rd and 1, or it was a 2nd and 3 or 2nd and 4. They run it, but then they get short, and then it's a 3rd and 1, and then I think they ran it again. But everything worked out in the end. Lattimore had one of the craziest games I've ever seen from a player in terms of the ups and downs. Like in the beginning, the first possession or 2, he was shutting him down, and then A.J. Brown got the best of him for a few plays, and then Lattimore had some good plays against him, and then it went back to the PIs, which I thought were questionable. I know a lot of Eagles fans thought they were good calls, but for me, I don't know. But let's just talk about some of the players and some of the stuff that happened. So Jayden had a good game. The interception, the first one was bad. He overthrew Luke McCaffrey, and it's just something about him throwing to Luke McCaffrey. It just doesn't work. I don't know why. When he either just doesn't hit Luke McCaffrey when he's open, like he throws it to someone else, or he just misses the throw because Luke was open on that play. And then the interception, both interceptions, I believe, were when he was throwing to Luke. So, and I think on that first interception, there was a guy, or I think it was Terry, who was open down the field for a tutty, but it is what it is. That didn't end up mattering in the game. But yeah, Jayden, 9 carries, 82 yards was great. Brian Robinson, we have to have a conversation about running back being a need this year. I know he hasn't fumbled a lot this year, at all before this game, but had 2 fumbles and wasn't doing much besides that. Even if he has a good rest of the season and it's just a 1-game thing, I do think the Commanders need another running back, whether, they keep Eckler or they, want to stick with one of these guys. I just think they need another guy. So if Eckler is down to come back, then that's fine. Maybe they don't need a big name, but I think they do need to bring in another running back to help out the squad. The offensive line was good for the most part, allowed 1 sack. Biotish was good. They missed a couple blocks in the first half that kind of led to some big plays, but by the Eagles defense, but they were solid. Eagles side of the ball, Jalen Hurts was in 1 for 4, 11 yards. Not like he was lighting it up, but the Eagles were doing pretty well when he was in there. And he got hurt. Louvu hit him. Similar thing happened in the Commanders Eagles game the first time, but he didn't get called out for concussion. And I did, by the way, predict a Commanders win. I just want to say that I was faithful in this team. After the first quarter, I was like, why did I pick them to win? But it ended up working out in the end. But Pickett was he came in, converted a third down. I think did he throw I think he threw a touchdown pass on that drive as well to AJ Brown. Saquon was insane in the first half, but let's shout out to the Commanders defense, because after the first half, first quarter, the Commanders defense locked down. They allowed 12 points in the 3 quarters, which I'll take that any day of the week against the Eagles. And I know Kenny Pickett's not the best, and he was playing a little bit hurt too. They still got AJ Brown. They still got Saquon Barkley. They still got an elite offensive line. They got Devonta Smith, who saved the day for the Commanders on that play. But yeah, defense stepped up. The defense stepped up. Let's go to some of the guys on defense. Louvu with a huge interception that we scored a touchdown on. That changed the game. Bobby Wagner was good. He got beat one time by Saquon, but guess what? He ends up stripping the ball out of his hands and forcing an incompletion. Mike Sanders still was good for the most part. Maybe allowed a couple receptions that weren't that long. Frankie Louvu, best player on this defense, is top 3 player on the team. He was good. 2 tackles for a loss. Pass breakup, which I guess is the interception or pass deflection. I think that was it for him. Had some good tackles. Johnny Newton might have had his best game of the year. I don't know if he had any sacks, or I guess they gave him a sack, but he was huge in this game. Like, just from the eye test, you watch him, 6 tackles, 3 TFLs, a QB hit, a sack, 5 solos. But if you just watched the game, you saw him make impacts, a couple big TFLs. Had some plays too where he, as the D lineman, was the one making the tackle 4 or 5 yards down the field past the line of scrimmage. And if he doesn't make it, it's maybe a bigger play. So shout out to Johnny Newton. Shout out to Jeremy Chin coming off a concussion. Lattimore's up and down. Quan Martin, I thought, had some big plays. Tyler Owens, shout out Tyler Owens for making some huge special teams plays. Clelin Ferrell had a sack, forced fumble. It didn't, the Eagles recovered, which they recovered. The Commanders had 3 fumbles. 2 by Brian Robinson, 1 by Diami. And then the Kenny Pickett fumble. The Eagles recovered every single one of them, man. So lucky on those. I mean, part of it's skill, but a lot of that is luck. Sheldon Day, I thought he had a good game. Daron Payne had like one nice TFL, but he also had that 15-yard face mask. That was ridiculous. Obviously, he wasn't intentionally doing that, but you got to be locked in. You got to be locked in. You cannot do that. Jalen Holmes had a sack. Dante Fowler had a huge sack to force a field goal. So game balls to both of those guys. Percy Butler was doing some stuff. He almost got called for unnecessary roughness. I was so mad. Benjamin St-Juste absolutely sucks. I'm sorry. Hey, what I will say, though, is he did have a clutch tackle. I don't know if that was on that. I don't know if they got a first down after that. If they did, it was just one, and then they had a couple plays, and then Devonta Smith dropped. But it might have been on that specific series right there, on those 4 downs, because it was definitely on the last possession. But he had a nice tackle. But on the possession before that, when the Commanders were up and they were kind of out of field goal range, I was like, why the heck are they? Because I saw Lattimore run off the field and St-Juste come in. I was like, why the heck are they doing it? Because it did. After I was like, okay, maybe he had a concussion. Like my dad was saying, maybe he's hurt or something. And I was like, maybe it's a concussion, because he didn't really seem like he was hurt and running off. It was just like, oh, maybe someone from upstairs saw something. Let's take him out. And St-Juste came in, and then they got a completion on that play. I think it was to Devonta Smith, but AJ Brown was open on that play. And then later they got a big, it was a 4th and 7, or it might have been 3rd and 7. I don't know. I know there was a 4th and 7 on that drive, but it was a big play that St-Juste allowed to AJ Brown. He missed a tackle. Jordan McGee, I saw him getting some reps there on the defensive side of the ball early on. De'Ami Brown got hurt, had a big catch, but you kind of completely negate that with the fumble. I'm sorry. 4 catches, 56 yards, along of 51. So the other catches were 3 catches for 5 yards. But yeah, I mean everything you did there gets negated by the fumble. I'm sorry, but he did have a big catch, so I'll give him that. You can't fumble that. In real time, it didn't look like a fumble, but it was a fumble. Jeremy McNichols had a nice 2-point conversion there, had some nice plays. What else? He had a 4 catch, 15 yards. Brian Robinson had some nice catches as well. Zacchaeus, 5 catches, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns on 8 targets. That huge 49-yard touchdown when the Eagles had 12 men on the defense. That was huge. Terry had a nice touchdown catch. He was good in this game. They didn't get him involved a lot, but 5 catches, 60 yards basically, and on 6 targets. So shout out to him on there. Got to over 1,000 yards, in a season. I believe that's his 5th. So 2020, 2021, 2022, 5th 1,000-yard season, 6th season with the Commanders, has 12 touchdowns. He's a dog. I'm very happy for him and very happy about this win. The Commanders have had some crazy games this year. I mean, the Bengals game, the Bears game, the Cowboys game, this game. We got lucky. I mean, the Eagles were lucky in some senses, but also very unlucky with, quarterback going down and some other stuff. But the Commanders got lucky, and the Eagles, also got lucky. Like all those fumbles, tended to bounce their way. But also the Commanders, you can't expect to turn the ball over 5 times and win a lot of games. Probably the only time they'll ever do it. The one time that it's happened this year, they mentioned it was the Texans losing to the Lions when the Lions had 5 turnovers. But I believe the Texans had a few turnovers in that game. So it wasn't a pretty win, but it was a nice win at the end of the day against a good team. I don't care. Jalen Hurts is out. This team is still winning games. Like if Kenny Pickett started a full year or whatever quarterback started for them besides Jalen Hurts, they're still making the playoffs. This is a good team. Commanders are at 10-5. I think the Packers play the Saints tomorrow, so that should be a win for the Packers. But they do have a chance. If they win against the Falcons and then win against the Cowboys, they have a chance to get that 6th seed. I would love for the I would love for the Vikings or the Lions to get that 2 seed instead of the Eagles, so we play them instead. I would much rather play the Vikings. I know we just beat them, but I don't know. It's a divisional game. Who knows? I'm not ducking anyone. I'm not. The Commanders shouldn't be ducking anyone, and I'm not scared. Even though I'm not playing. Not scared of any team. But it was a great win, and it's so good to have 10 wins on the year. Feeling we haven't had in a long time. 10-5, 6-2 at home. Play the Atlanta Falcons next week, Sunday Night Football. You win that game, you're guaranteed in the playoffs. They might already be in by that point. I know some other things have to happen. Rooting for the Vikings in this game against the Seahawks. So not only do they get a higher seed, but then also the Seahawks just lose and they can't get that wild card spot, and it would just be the Rams who have that spot. But yeah, Jayden Daniels. A lot of different Jalen's, and Jalen Hurts is playing. But yeah, sorry, back to the point. Jayden Daniels, heck of a game. 5 touchdown passes. I think I forgot to say it. It was on my mind, but first quarterback that has thrown 5 touchdown passes for the Redskins / Washington football team / Commanders since Mark Rypien in 1991. So that's a crazy stat, and it's great that we have JD5 on the squad. I'm very, very excited about that. Yeah, but that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoy. Hail to the Commanders. And yeah, show me some love trying to hit 15K before the end of the year. Peace, guys.